Hello, it's Tim Gillio. The rest of the story. It is Tuesday, the 29th of October, 2019. Well, we left off yesterday with the introducing you to the sale of the field service management system. We put it up for sale. We'll see if anybody bites, but we've kind of come up with a reason for putting it up for sale. We have three environmental groups that would each could individually or cooperatively benefit very well from it. They can control and destroy the company, or the industry. And do they do that already? No, that because they could sue the government for the unauthorized use of intellectual property. They could have a lot of fun with this. Basically our industry, they could put cease and desist on everything. Everybody would come to a screeching halt for years and years and years till it got to the courts. So that would be kind of, if they want to kill pipelines, they want to just kill the whole damn industry. Now, I'll tell you why they won't do that, even though you people are afraid they will. Here's why they won't do it. These industries, whether it be Soros Open Society, Soros Fund Management, owns, they're major shareholders in the oil and gas industry. At the same time, they're the known major financier of the environmental movements. The Rockefeller Foundation. Rockefeller Foundation, which was formed in 1913, the purpose was for the betterment of humanity. 1913 was also the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank, which the Rockefellers were also institutional in. So, they really didn't have, it wasn't a betterment of humanity. The environmental movement under the Rockefellers was created by, again, Maurice Strong in the 70s, worked under the Rockefellers his whole career. So we turn around, we look at the tar sands campaign that the Rockefeller groups that started 17 years ago, where they started actively pursuing denigrating Canadian oil and gas industry. So they're a major sponsor of the environmental organizations at the coast and around the world. But here's the problem with them. They're also institutionalized investors. The families are all institutionalized investors, which means they make a lot of money off Canada's oil and gas industry. So that leaves another guy by the name of Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer made all his money in oil and gas. And of course he's got his own foundation that does what? Same thing. He funds environmental movements. So he's anti-oil, anti-pipeline on the one hand, and on the other hand, he's pro making a lot of money. So if you can manipulate the market down, or you can buy it or short it, because you know when you're going to put the pressure on it, there's all sorts of things they're doing that's quasi-illegal, maybe even illegal. But at the same time, you buy enough blocks in the company, you dictate who sits on those board seats. You put people on those board seats, you're going to look at people that are that have some political clout. Ex-politicians seem to fill those seats. They do very well on them. Now you got somebody who can lobby without even registering as a lobbyist. So now you got you start getting control. The politicians, as they go through power, their carrot at the end of the day is to be able to sell their contacts and make a ton of money. So that's exactly where they want to sit. They either go in and become consultants, or they go in and become directors for these companies, or they go become lobbyists. But they have jobs that they're going to go do, and those jobs are going to make them a ton of money. And basically they're going to sell you out as a citizen. You really aren't that important, and thank you very much for voting us in, sucker. That's why they should have term limits, so it wouldn't happen. Keep these people down to 2 terms. That's good enough. Get out. So that way they don't get enough control. Same as bureaucrats. Move the bureaucrats around and move them out the door as quick as you can. And we can have a revolving set of bureaucrats. But those are things we can worry about at another time. Right now, that's the cause and effect and how we ended up where we're at. So now we take a look and we say, well, so the industry doesn't want to buy it. Well, the industry doesn't want to buy it because by buying it, it's an admission of guilt. They're afraid that we're going to say. I mean, they haven't come to me and asked me, well, Tim, we sent them an offering memorandum, but the offering memorandum warned them if you sign the subscription agreement, this is an admission of guilt. So I mean, the problem is, I didn't have to write that in there, but the truth is the truth. You people have known about the field safety management system for tongue-tied. FSMS. You've known about it for the better part of 17 years, or its working parts as it's worked its way up to become what it is, what it was the last time we operated, the last time we sent out for marketing plans and business plans to the government, which they have included. We see that Comply works nice, and are trying to introduce more aspects of the field service management system all the time and try to get control on location of individuals and groups and mobile resources, which is very important. That's one of the reasons was the reason behind Anchor Track. Then to control what utilization, they're trying to do it through trying to control the process of getting the payment process. So for that, when things get going back, they'll have to end up having to become a factoring house to try to make that work. And there's lots of ways they're going to try to do it. The problem is those are all written in the field service management system. So again, all they're doing is they're tripping over their own feet. The field service management system was thought out a long time ago. It was very well thought out. So if they say, well, it's obvious, it's the only way to go. Well, it is obvious because you've had 17 years to read the damn thing. So even if there was some other solution, you wouldn't have come up with it because your brain's too focused on field service management system. So that's what we're going to contend. They're going to have a hard time beating that. So now we have an industry is too afraid of it. Right? They're hoping that their connections with their political powers, Trudeau not leaving didn't help. If the Conservative got in without a change, it wouldn't have changed a damn thing. The bureaucrats and the politicians are politicians. They really don't care. Again, they're all looking for that board seat. So that put us in a position where the best thing that happens is Wexit. I said, how's that work? Well, let's put it this way. If the environmental lobby does come in and buy this, they're going to destroy the entire industry. Which means they will technically destroy it. But by the time they're done suing everybody and putting cease and desist on every single service industry, everybody that ever took the safety plan building course, there's nobody to work for anymore. There's nobody to go out there and do any services. So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. Their idea is to limit, exposure to how much competition they're going to have on the West Coast or the East Coast by limiting pipelines. Not by technically killing the industry, because they still want the industry to produce, so they still want that oil going south. And once it goes south, they're in control of it. So the stupidity that they went through with the 10 cents on the dollar crap, that come to an end when Notley finally paid attention, when he kept sending her notes after notes and writing in the Edmonton Journal and the Calgary Herald, and hey, look, you can believe all the bullshit coming out of Washington all you want about them being energy independent. But you pull away that 5 million barrels a day from them, we'll find out just how energy independent they are. And I'll tell you what, you just discovered that when Saudi Arabia refinery capacities got blown up. Well, what happened? The U.S. had to open up their reserve. So now they've opened up their reserve. They try to make the short. So the U.S. government that was on an incident that's out of their control. But imagine now if the people that are running these oil industries, they're the ones that are causing the shorts, right, through the banking system. You got to remember the other people, the institutional buyers are primarily the Wall Street bankers. We got into with the government. We started to get our conversation with the White House and the conversation with the Chinese. It was based off on Canadian companies that were basically on the verge of destitution, or all of a sudden moving into the U.S. and buying up these. It was like Goliath. It was David swallowing Goliath. And then they would basically be share swaps financed through Wall Street banks, and then those shares were sold off, which basically become Asian or Chinese investors through Canada's TSX or TSE, and the transfer capital, the money laundering was done by Canada's chartered banks. It triggered, so we kind of identified what was going on. And the idea was to increase the strength of the petro yuan against the petrodollar. The globalist plan, or the banking plan, was to basically destroy the Federal Reserve dollar, the petrodollar, make the Chinese yuan the new petrodollar, make it the trade dollar of the world, right? Bankrupt the West. That was the idea behind the immigration and everything else that we've been going through. For those that don't believe that, all you have to do is go read. If you like to read, just look it up. UN Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. It tells you right there, lays it all out for you, exactly how they were going to, what they're going to do, why they're going to do it. The idea behind depopulation is to get everybody down to 7.5 billion people. We're at 7.5 billion now. They want to get us down to half a billion. And then maintain that there. You hit a certain age, boom. Okay, you get euthanized next. The state runs your kids. The state runs everything. You don't have any kids. You don't have a life. You're just you're a battery. You become a battery for the state. If it's a state, there are a few people up top that feed off you, and that's the end of them. So that was, it's written in those agendas. who come up with that sick bullshit, well, again, politicians sign that crap, and they're bureaucrats that go along with them because they don't actually read it. Very few people actually read. They like to say they do, but I mean, hey, they're too busy at these nice little exotic locations, enjoying the food and the drink, right? And if you're Obama's Secret Service, the prostitutes. But that's a different story. So anyhow, when we go forward a little bit, so we know that the chances are the industry itself isn't going to want to buy it, right? The biggest threat to the industry and the biggest threat to everybody is this class action suit. I'll tell you why it's the biggest threat. Because they can't control that. That's a direct cost. There's no fiddling around. It's going to come directly out of their shareholders' pockets. There's no the government is going to have a hell of a time intervening with it. This is a straight up and up judiciary case. I mean, yes, they do own a lot of the judges. They do own a lot of the the media. But there are enough honest people around. Hopefully, you can just find an honest person. So that's kind of where you're at there. They're not going to control it. So it might be the class action suit that needs to go forward. Meanwhile, you get your premiers to look at it now. The premiers, they were brought in later on in the game. We dealt with the prime minister. Did we know that Trudeau and his ilk or his people had no intention of actually abiding by rules, laws, or of course not. I mean, here the thing at the same time by doing so, he's not going to be in power forever. And now we might be able to go back and say, hey, look at this court registry file 22760, Dawson Creek. It is identified that this man is a criminal. He was notified of this, and everybody died or got injured, or any environmental disaster since that date that this accountability and transparency might have prevented. And this man knew about it. The procedure was there to do it. The policy was in place. The industry just had to be pushed. So he didn't do it. Why? Because half the people sitting on those boards right now are liberals or progressives. So I mean, they're happier than punch that Trudeau got in, and those are the people who are waiting to give you a damn job. So I mean, don't feel sorry for the industry, right? I mean, it's the people in the industry that they're abusing. Those are the ones you feel sorry for. The environmentalist groups. Well, they're just a lot of them are paid. They're paid actors, right? If you get paid to do a job, they're just doing the damn job. The ones that aren't being paid, well, those are people that don't really have a lot between the ears. Something happened, or dropped in their heads when they were born, or something happened, but. That's basically that. They've been indoctrinated in these schools where, they believe that up is down and down is up and right is wrong and wrong is right. And, who knows, you never know where these people are going to end up, but, I don't know if the world's going to put up with them for much longer. Right now, you see the world is turning nationalist, and Canada's not going to stop just because of this little election. The people have had enough. The people are starting to stand up. And that's what this Wexit thing is about again. Now the question is, do we have the political powers in place? Even we know Manitoba, we don't. He's come right out and basically says he's against it. His own people are starting to rise up, so we'll see how long he sticks around for. We know that the good idea Scott Moe's probably in there again. Jay Hill's he's called Kenney out, and rightfully so. Kenney should have had the separation documentation had already gone through his caucus, should be ready to be tabled in the legislature. It wasn't. He's still talking about maybe 2 years from now we'll do a referendum on equalization. So that tells you guys in there trying to he's trying to ride out his term, his election cycle, so before he worries about actually doing something for the people. So if that's the result, then I mean you should make damn sure he's unelected. Brian Jean was the guy that they railroaded. He was the guy who should have been in there. But that's my opinion. I don't live in Alberta anymore. I live just across the border, 6 miles. So when we turn around, we look at our lovely people in my neighboring province there, where my family were institutional in the agricultural business, and the Cattlemen's Association created it. They were one of the creators, and one of the founders. That was my great uncle who died at 99 and 105 years of age. That Ralph Klein had presided at his final birthday. It was just him and his youngest sister, my grandmother, that were left alive. She was, I believe, 83 or 84 at the time. She died 3 months after him. He did in 99 as well. So that was a bit of a dynasty that went on for a long time. Again, they were on the agricultural side and the cattle side. But they helped create the irrigation systems down in Saskatchewan, Alberta, in the south, and into the northern states in the U.S. They come out of the states originally, but that was back well over many moons ago. So that's kind of where where my family roots come from. There's a lot of families still in Alberta, a lot in the oil and gas industry. A lot of this information that we put into the field service management system were people that were placed in the oil and gas industry. I've been exposed to a lot of different groups in the oil and gas industry. So I've been around a lot of the upper echelons of it over many years of my life, which gives me a different little view as to how things work. So what we're trying to do now is we're trying to say, okay, really the question now is Kenney. Is Premier Kenney the right guy for the job? So that becomes the question, because the right guy for the job is not going to want to see any more harm come to this industry. He's going to be an honest, ethical, and moral person, where he's going to say, okay, look, we've looked into this, right, which we've asked them to do, and we agree, right? We took something we shouldn't have taken. We knew better. We didn't do our due diligence. We didn't look after this human being. Right? We stole it from him. Why? Right? You can go back and punish or chastise all the people we want, but it's a very cheap cost, because what I'm doing is I'm offering it for sale rather than allowing, if they buy it first, they get it very, very cheap. So the per person cost can be in the pennies. If they allow the oil companies to buy it, again, the oil companies should be buying it, and the government should therefore go in and re-regulate it to enforce it. It's still very cheap. It works out to about 1.5 million in shares, right, which is nothing for the 100 oil companies. There'll be some have to buy 3 million, right? They're very cheap. It's a signature. The CEO himself can make the damn signature and sign that check. So that's basically where we're at. We're getting to the point where a lot of these, the reality versus the stupidity is getting a little bit ridiculous. So now, if these environmentalist movement want it, it depends. I mean, they own it. They can control the pace. They don't have to kill it all at once. They can use it, manipulate the market, and they can manipulate the market, and make a ton of money. I mean, we're talking more money than the damn industry's probably worth. But they can, again, they have the right to do so. I mean, we've established that everybody else is in the wrong. They're all running around with chickens with their head cut off. That would probably end the class action suit unless it was in their favor, unless people were smart enough to go in and maybe do something like, under the Freedom of Information Act, to ask Alberta for all their information. You might want to do that. But other than that, basically we're looking at Kenney is the person to buy it. The other one is Trudeau. Trudeau had that $1.6 billion available to do just that, but that one, that was right after Christmas. I don't know if you guys remember that announcement, but nobody can seem to find the money. So once $1.6 billion, it just disappeared. Hey, maybe he'll find enough money to put a bid in and buy this damn thing, so that he can shut it down, let the industry continue to collude and corrupt and do whatever they want, because that seems to be right up the liberals' alley anyhow. So why interfere with a good thing, right? So that's where we're at. If Kenney buys it, he can go back after the industry. He can actually go back after some of his ex-compatriots and his own compadres, and say, okay, if we buy this thing, we can go and put an end to the they can control the industry. Basically, whoever owns it controls the industry. It's just how simple it is. You've had it for years and years and years and years. I mean, we have a law 217.1. The government doesn't seem to remember how the hell it works or why they wrote it, but it's pretty explicit, right? You're liable. If you knew that you didn't make these changes and these things happened, you're liable. It doesn't matter how much paperwork you wanted to stuff up people's backsides, right? That's this clerical administrative crap didn't do it when you knew damn well there's accountability would. But you didn't want to do it, because right from day one, when I'm sitting there with across from Canada's rep, and he says, "Oh, this is great, except for this accountability stuff. It'll never happen in the office. Maybe guys in the field, but never anybody in the office." And that's what we're dealing with. And it was that statement you see that they having a hard time with this day. That man's name was Mike Jetson, in case you want to know. So, we wrote a few letters back and forth over the time. It's not that we don't have the documentation to put this together, it's just a matter of finding somebody who's got deep enough pockets to sell it to. So either way, I really don't see it. I mean, there's benefits on all, no matter who gets it. You're not going to get the environmentalists that aren't going to totally destroy it because their investment arms would lose too much money. You know, they can manipulate it. They can use it for years and years and years to manipulate it before the industry finally grabs their brain and says, okay, let's go around it. And, you know, really no matter what they do, they're going to have a hard time getting around it. You know, that's the problem. They've had something in their possession for so long that, you know, ownership is not 9/10 of the law. You have to actually pay for the damn thing. Right now, it's theft. Ownership is 9/10 of you going to jail. And that's, you know, we had a proper government, proper judiciary, they'd be going to jail. We asked the judiciary if they want to look at it. They ran some damn hard, damn fast and quick. It was funny. That's why if you get a chance to get a hold of that transcribed settlement conference on the court case against the Prime Minister's office, you'll chuckle about it. But you know, that's our industry. That's our world. You know, everybody wants it. There's more people. There's more lazy people than there are. You know, there are hardworking people, and that's unfortunate. But you know, so you guys decide what you want to do. I mean, I'm letting you know. Put pressure on Kenney to take a look at it. He wants, you know, Kenney's the one who should be looking at it. You know, if he looks at it, he can control the destiny of the market. He can control the investment from these foreign lobby groups. You know, these environmental groups. He can control the directorships on the oil companies. Why? Start charging them. It's a federal 217.1 is federal statute, but it doesn't matter, right? You can assist the charges. I mean, it's the RCMP lay the charges, right? The RCMP, they work in Alberta, don't they? Assist, they start laying charges. There you go. Here's your information. If that person died over there, go and do an investigation, right? You control occupational health and safety. You control the WCB boards. Yes, the WCB boards are complicit in it. But are they complicit because they were, you know, somebody that was there made a lot of money? You know, start looking into people's bank accounts, find out who took what, where, when, right? Throw them in jail, right? Hang them in the town square. I like the idea of hanging people in the town square. I think that's got to come back. You know, it's just a way more pleasurable way of getting vengeance, I think. You know, I might be joking there. Who knows? You guys have a good day. You know, again, we're looking at trying to get our provincial governments to buy this so it doesn't harm us anymore. Yeah. You figure out the justifications. Who do you think should buy it? You let me know in the bottom.